So guys, today I'm going to be sharing my progress with ICT. So I've been learning ICT for 8 months now, and one thing that I want to say is I know that there are people who have made way more progress than I within the same amount of time, and there are people who have made way less progress than I within the same amount of time. Please do not compare your journey with mine. Okay? Please do not say anything about it in the comments, even in your heart. Just don't do it, guys. We are all different, right? We all have different learning curves. You might grasp something faster than I might grasp something faster than you. We're all different, right? That's one thing that we have to accept. So don't compare your journey with mine, and yeah. So these are the topics that I'm going to be talking about in regards to how much progress I've made. So the first thing is, what playlist have I watched so far, right? Second thing is, what have I spent most of my time struggling with? So I actually have notes here. Don't mind me just looking down. And then the third thing is key lessons that I've learned so far when watching ICT. The fourth thing is what has slowed down my progress. And then the fifth thing is, have I found my model yet? Right, so we're going to discuss all of that, and I have minute markers next to it. So if you guys want to just skip straight to whatever you want to skip straight to, here's a minute marker, go there, sharp. So what playlists have I watched? The first playlist is the 2022 mentorship. I've watched that playlist twice, right? And one thing that I can say is that the first time I watched that playlist, I thought I understood what I was watching. But to be honest, I did not, right? Because when I watched it the second time, whole new information that I missed in the first time watching it was just revealed to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was watching a whole new playlist, but it's the same playlist. So the second time around watching it was mind-blowing because I missed so much when I watched it the first time, right? And I'm going to watch it the third time so I can see what I've missed the second time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then the second playlist that I've watched is core content month 1 to month 7. Now, one thing that I can say about this playlist is that from month 1 to month 4, things are relatively simple. I'm not gonna lie. But from month 5 to month 7, things just got way too technical for my liking. Things got way too technical to the point where I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. I couldn't apply anything ICT was teaching on a chart, right? Because he firstly used the static chart and he was just giving so much information on that one chart that I've never heard in my life. So it was way too technical for my liking. So after month 7, I was like, no, this is getting way too technical. Let me stop here, right? And let me go watch something else. I'll probably revisit this later on when I have more understanding and I'm further in my journey. So that's why I stopped at month 7. And then the third playlist that I watched was Market Maker Primer. Now, if you watch this playlist, you realize that it's one of the most simple playlists that ICT has ever released, right? And it has short form content and it doesn't have many rants, and ICT just gets straight to the point with what he teaches. It's an amazing playlist. I recommend everybody to watch it. The first time I watched this playlist, right, I thought that it wasn't simple because it was hard for me to understand. But at that time, I didn't understand ICT concepts in general. So that's why it was hard for me to understand. But once you have like a basic, solid foundation of ICT concepts, when you watch this playlist, you realize that it's gold, right? So this is my favorite playlist, not because it has the holy grail or it has the most technical new gadget or whatever. It is because of its simplicity, right? It is because of how short the videos are, and it's because of how ICT is not ranting about many things and he's just getting straight to the point. A rant in this playlist will probably last you like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then it just gets to something more important. So this is just straight to the point, straightforward, short form content with a lot of information that is valuable but simple at the same time. So if you have a basic understanding of ICT concepts and you want to further enhance it, then I recommend you watch Market Maker Primer. Yeah. Number 2, what did I spend most of my time struggling with? Now, the first thing that I spend most of my time struggling with is just getting used to watching ICT concepts. Because firstly, his voice is monotone, he speaks very slow, and he goes on long rants and he has long lectures, right? It's like that boring math teacher that everybody wants to be absent. That's what ICT felt like in the beginning, right? And the thing is, I was forcing myself to actually watch these videos despite all of this, right? But it took me some time to get used to like listening to how slow he speaks, right? Listening to his voice, his monotone voice, and all of that. It really took some getting used to, but you still have to do it anyway, right? And one thing that I can also say is that ICT goes on long rants, guys, where he sometimes just speaks about people who are stealing his concepts. It's like, bro, okay, we know people are stealing your concepts. That's why we are here, to learn from you. So we don't learn from the people who are stealing from concepts, But at the end of the day, guys, it's his YouTube channel. As much as you guys don't actually have a right, to tell me what to talk about on my YouTube channel because I started it. Even though I do take you guys' suggestions, I'm not saying I take you guys' suggestions lightly, and I'm not saying you guys don't suggest anything. But at the end of the day, you're watching my video, chief. You chose to click on this video, chief. So whatever is on this video, you watch. If you don't want to watch, you have to move. So that's the same mentality that you have with ICT, right? But what I was saying is that sometimes he goes on a rant, a long rant where he just speaks about people stealing his concepts, or sometimes just speaks about he has two boxers and his child had an accident somewhere and this and this and this and this and this and that, right? And sometimes he spits game. Sometimes he gives you life advice that is very valuable, right? But he could do that in the middle of teaching something important, That's the problem. Sometimes he could be teaching something so important. He's like, guys, take notes here. And then he speaks about something and then deviates completely from the topic that he was speaking about in the middle of the topic. And then he just talks about something completely different. And just like, bro, what happened to that fair value gap that you were pointing at right now? Why are you talking about your family, dog? The fair value gap. Talk about your family after the fair value gap, at least. So that's one thing that I can say about ICT. And then another thing is trying to apply his concepts practically. Guys, ICT is a lot of dry theory. Most of the time it's just using a static chart, right? And that static chart represents what he wants to teach perfectly. It represents what he wants to teach perfectly. And when you go on your chart, it's not so perfect. Does that make sense? It's not so perfect. So you have to try to find a way to apply what he has taught in your chart that is not so perfect, and it just becomes a mess, bro. So that's the thing with ICT. I was, especially when I was watching the core content, because like I said, the core content is way too technical. So trying to apply some of those things practically on your chart, which is in 2024, and he taught these things in 2016, 17, and trying to apply on your 2024 chart, which is different from that chart, is very difficult. So that's one thing that I can say about that I was really struggling to apply some of the things he taught practically. So those are the two things that I struggled with the most. Oh, another thing is daily bias. Daily bias is one thing that frustrated me a lot, because I'm like, if I don't know where the price is likely to go, then what's the point of doing anything on the lower time frames? You know what I'm saying? So I spent most of my time trying to figure out what the market is trying to do, and I really, 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 really got frustrated with it, right? But we're gonna discuss that within the next subtopic. So yeah. Number 3, key lessons I've learned so far. Now, the first key lesson I've learned so far is that daily bias does not matter as much as I thought it did. Now, I learned this recently from the Market Maker Primer playlist. In this episode, right? ICT said that daily bias is bearish and bullish every single day. It's both directions every single day. What matters is your model appearing in line with your daily bias. If it is, then take the trade, right? I might have a bullish bias, right? And if my model appears within that bullish bias, in line with that bullish bias, then I should take that trade, right? Whether it's a loss, whether it's a win, it's whatever, right? Because at that very same day, somebody could have a bearish bias and take their trade alongside that bearish bias and still be right, and we could both make money. Sometimes my target would be that person's entry. Sometimes their entry would be my target. It's something that I was struggling with a lot, right? Please don't mind me, I'm reading off of this. So if you see me look down, just, yeah. But it's something that I struggled with a lot, right? Because I thought there was a black and white. I thought that my bias was either right or wrong. But it really doesn't matter as much as you think it does. And then another thing is that not every model is going to work for you. Now, this is something that I've learned from ICT recently, where he says that you might think that the optimal trade entry will work for you, but the 2022 model might end up being the one that works for you. There are so many models, guys, right? And you just need to find one that works for you, but not every model will work for you, you know. And what I've been doing is that I've been trying to force myself to what's this called to actually make a model work for me, which I see now that it does not work for me. And that model is the 2022 mentorship model. Because whenever I'm just looking for it, right, it doesn't appear when the market goes my direction. But whenever I see it and then I enter, most of the time the market goes against me. But the moment the market does what I'm anticipating, the entry is not there. Does that make sense? So maybe that's not the model for me. Maybe I see things different compared to most people. So that's one thing that I can say. I want to see what other model could work for me. But for now, in regards to the 2022 model, I don't think it's the one. But I'm still going to watch the episode, the mentorship anyway, after Market Maker Primer. And then the third thing I've learned was patience, right? Patience. You know, when I started watching ICT, I wanted to watch the whole mentorship in one day. You know, I'm exaggerating, of course, but it's just showing you the extremes that I was willing to go to, right? And one thing that I can say is that there was a time where I watched like 18 episodes in 4 days, you know, and I was just there watching ICT. And to be honest, I did not take diligent notes. And to be honest, I did not really retain most of that information that I learned, right, in that matter of time, because I was just rushing, thinking that I'm working hard. But what I'm doing is that I'm just rushing the journey and I'm not really doing anything productive. I'm just being busy, right? So that's where I said, you know what, let me just watch one episode a day, because ICT also recommended that in one of his Twitter spaces, just watch one episode a day. So that's what I'm doing right now, just one episode a day, depending on how long the episode is. If the episode is really short, then I can just watch 2 episodes, right? But most of the time it's just one episode a day, especially if it's a 1 hour episode, because that 1 hour episode can take me like 2.5 hours, because I keep on rewinding, keep on taking notes, keep on rewinding, taking screenshots, looking at my own charts to see if I can see what he's talking about. So many things. So I had to learn patience, right? And I've learned through time that even if I watch one episode a day, I'm still going to finish that mentorship if I'm just consistent. You know, if I'm consistent, I've finished so many ICT playlists now, right, that I was just consistent with it, right? And I was just patient with it, you know. And sometimes you might find that you don't need to watch all of these playlists that you're looking at, right? You don't need to watch everything. Sometimes you might just find your model same time when watching one playlist, right? And you can just stick to it forever. But you just have to take your time. Don't try to rush into things, because you might miss things that are important for you. Number 4, what slowed down my progress? Now, the first thing is rushing the process. I wasn't submitting to time. Rushing the process, trying to learn everything in one day, right? Trying to find shortcuts through whatever I'm supposed to learn, you know. And you know, Miles Monroe says that the longest route to success is the shortcut. So I was trying to find shortcuts. I was trying to watch a series in a day. You know, I was that person, right? And it did not work for me. I'm telling you now, it did not work for me. And I wish I was patient from the beginning, because I would have made way more progress than I did right now, you know. But everything happens in its own time, and at least as I'm going further, now I'm learning what I need to do, and I'm developing new characteristics, right? At least I was impatient so that I can learn patience, right? You know, so that when I'm older and when I'm further in my journey and I'm doing other things, that I know that patience is key to be successful. Nakon. And then laziness is the second thing, right? Laziness is the second thing, because sometimes I wouldn't watch ICT. I would watch, like, you know, with watching ICT, I was very disciplined in coming onto this laptop every single day, opening and watching ICT. But the thing is, when I was watching, was I as diligent? Was I as focused? Was I taking notes? Yes, proper notes, you know, notes that I could come back and read and understand and learn from. Was I doing that? was I just watching ICT like it's Netflix? That's what I was doing in the beginning. And that's a lazy way to watch ICT, considering the fact that you want success from ICT. So that's one thing that I can say. I was very, very lazy. But right now I'm upgrading, right now I'm seeing my mistakes, and I'm writing notes, and I'm backtesting in hindsight, of course, because I don't have money to pay for FX replay right now, and I'm doing all of these things. And I don't think I should be paying for FX replay right now if I'm not yet confident in my setup repeating, right? Because I'll just be wasting money, because I'll be backtesting something that I'm not really sure about yet, So yeah. And then the last one, right? I know that I was skipping clips, but now I'm just gonna get straight to it. The last one is, have I found my model? And the answer is no. But am I getting better at reading price? Yes, right? I'm better than I was in the beginning. I'm better than I was in the beginning. I know what to look for in each kill zone, right? I know when I have a bearish bias, when I should avoid a certain session, right? So I know all of that. I'm not perfect, I'm not in a space where I could be live trading what I'm doing right now, so I don't have a specific model, right? Because every single day I'm looking for different things, if that makes sense, right? I'm not looking for something specific, because sometimes I look for something specific and it takes so long for that thing to appear that I end up just seeing, okay, but here's another thing that I could add on to this, add on to that, so I'm still trying to find my own setup that I am looking for, because even with the 2022 model, I said to you guys that I'm struggling to find an entry, right? And sometimes when I watch other people's content, I see that they found an entry and it's like, what? You guys had an entry and it worked. Because whenever I get an entry on the 2022 mentorship, the entry ends up going the other direction, And I know most of you guys in that last video where the entry actually went against me, you were like, but you were in a premium. Why were you buying when you were in a premium? This and this, this and this. Guys, if you can see NASDAQ, please go look at the NASDAQ, right? Most of the time, the NASDAQ is in a premium and it's still going higher, right? Most of the time, the NASDAQ is in a premium and it's still going higher. People, if you can make profitable trades, just like if I was so what's this called? So adamant about price being in a premium or a discount, and I was trading NASDAQ, I would have missed out on all of those up moves, guys. So I'm still trying to figure my way out through ICT, guys. It's very difficult. I was listening to a subscriber this one time, right? Because I checked with some of my subscribers. Some of them have actually hit me up, right? And this person was saying to me that I make watching ICT look so easy. And guys, it's not. It's just that my aim is also to inspire you guys. My aim is also to let you to let you guys see me work, so that you can go to work and watch, and take diligent notes and everything. And that is not easy. I make it look easy. Sometimes even the way I edit, yes, I make it purposefully look easy, but it's really not. It's really difficult, right? It's really, really difficult. But I'm not going to give up, right? I'm going to find my way through price. I'm going to find my model, and I'm going to be rich. Let me just say that. So thank you very much, guys. Road to 2K. Please make sure that you like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. It wasn't really an epic video, but it was just a video of me speaking about my journey so far. Yeah.